Maya, I think a very exemplary young lady around, and you, of course, you ladies, I'm very convinced are setting very good examples, and so I'm excited to see what we can share on a topic which I wouldn't say is very straightforward.
Yeah.
But I'm certain that at the end of the day, we should be able to establish a very good foundation for decision making.
Exactly.
Life is about decision making, about the actions, and then the consequences that come as a result.
All right, let's get the ball rolling. You've met Maya and you've met Aya Abine. These are the two persons that will start our conversation. I'm going to start with the lady. Our topic is, does marriage demand women quit their job/career? But now, some people do not even know what a career is all about. Yeah, so a man may have told you to stop, being a pastor, or stop singing, or stop even going to work, or maybe you were a banker, and people will just think it's a career. That's the career that he stopped you from. Meanwhile, you've not even found out what your own career is. That was just like a job. That's why we put a job/career, because they're two different things that many people do not know. So, Maya, can you make this distinction for us? What's a job and what's a career?
Okay, so I'll start with what a job is.
Yeah.
So a job is basically what I'll say bring your ends meet together.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically something which you're doing to be able to earn something at the end. It can either be a wage or a salary.
Yeah.
So that's what most of us do now. I can say I have a job.
Yeah.
You have a job.
Yeah.
It's to get an ends meet.
Exactly.
It's not like it's something which I'm already getting somewhere else. Now on the career path, it's basically something where you have, I would say it has to do with your purpose. It has to do with what you really want to
You're
do in
passionate
your life.
about, yeah.
It has to do with impact. It has to do with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now it's very difficult to see. Very few people live in the doing the career path right now. Very few people, because it has a lot to do with like sacrifices. It has a lot. It takes a lot of patience to build a career.
Okay.
But the common thing is a job. Most of us have jobs, and some very lucky persons have careers.
Okay, thank you so much for that distinction. I hope it is clear, but if it's not, we have Aya Abine here to throw more light to that job/career. Because when we throw this topic, a woman will just get up, my pikin, it must be telling me stop for said tomato, I don't remember, I don't stop it from a career. Because people do not know that these are two different things. So what to you is the clear-cut dichotomy between job and career?
Okay, thank you very much. I think Maya has really done a good job, but maybe just to put in other words, because again, the viewers out there, giving them a multiple perspective just helps to ease understanding. I think I would say for a job, you could say equal to short-term returns, and then a career long-term return.
Okay.
If you ask me, that's a simple way. However, I just want to say that it's also possible to still be in a career and yet you're not in what you call your purpose, what you're born to do.
Okay.
Again, so those are the three dimensions, but we're not here to talk about that today. So you could have a job which is short-term, as you said, just to get ends to meet, and then you could have a career which is something you want to do in the long run. It's something I want to do for a long time. But you can still be in a career and then
it's still not your career,
not still what you were born to do. So you are not really inside your purpose. And that's why there is this very delicate verse which when I came across in the Bible, I got a little bit maybe even scared. And Christ said that many people will do great things in his name. They will cast out demons in his name. They will heal people in his name. They will do all those things, and yet he will say, I do not know you. And why? Because he said, until you do the will right of the Father, and the Father's will for you is what he created you for, which you call your purpose, right? So you have job, you have career, and then you have purpose. Again, just to help people out there, we cannot get into the details today. So again, but those are some of the things we do in terms of coaching and speaking and all of that.
All right, thank you very much for all of that. I hope we're set and all of us were now in one spirit, so that when we continue talking, you will understand if truly something wrong has been done, or if truly there's anything wrong in a man saying that I want my wife out of this. Because when that video popped on social media, many people were looking at it from the negative dimension that, oh, this man did this woman bad. But I think if I'm just already getting into something I'm not supposed to get into. But then if we probably sat down with the man, maybe the man would tell us he felt like the woman could excel in something else. Because another thing with us, especially with women, is we do not like change. It's very difficult for a woman to change, especially if she's like, I like to be an accountant. For you to make her understand that she wasn't really born to be an accountant, it's like you're going on a mission. So now you people have said, okay, it's more about purpose and all. So how then do we find ourselves in the right career? I'm starting with you, Maya, because I'm trying to lay down this foundation so that when we get to the real actual question, we may realize that some women's husbands were trying to do good, but the women understood it for evil. And some other husbands, yes, we're actually doing it because of being scared and all that, but there are always two sides of the coin. So that's why we're doing all of this groundwork. We're not going out of our topic. So how then do we know we are actually working in a line of career, in our purpose, in our God-given assignment? How then do we know?
Okay, I'll go back to job. I'll start from the job.
Okay,
there are certain jobs where we do that we ourselves know it's not decent. There are certain jobs that most of us do that we cannot really stand out there and be like, this is the kind of job I do, but that job is giving you the money you need to survive. Okay, I'll keep that aside. That's a very important point to note. Then there are decent jobs where we do it, but it can either be very tedious or it's not paying you, but the fear of taking a risk to do something else, you just decide to stay in that lane. There are jobs which are very decent, but yet it doesn't really add any value to your life apart from the cash. Okay, now for the career, it's very, very difficult to build a career in this our environment. Why? Because the challenges we face, I know what the kind of career I want to build, but the challenges I face and the fact that I need to survive every day is going to take me back to look for a job. Now, you have to be very strategic because you can use your job to build your career. So for you to actually build a career, you need to go back to the board. Like, what is your career? What kind of career do you want to build for yourself? And
in which field?
In which field? What am I good at? How can I impact? Because I believe that a career is something which it has to impact people. Like, you really need to look at it and be like, this is what I've done. And as he mentioned, it's not a short-term something. It's something where you need to look, and you see where you're heading to. And sometimes when you start building a career, the path may not be clear, and we are not patient. I don't really blame us because, as I mentioned, the environment that we are in,
it's not favorable.
It's not favorable to build a career.
Okay.
So for you, going back to your question, for you to be able to know that you're in to know if this is the kind of career I want to build, I think you need to go within yourself. You need to look within yourself and know that, okay, this is what I am good at. The fact that you studied this thing doesn't mean you build a career in it. You need to go deep within yourself.
Okay. Now, many people have stayed in the job. They are actually in jobs that they're working hard to make ends meet, and in their minds it's their career. And so they have sacrificed, taking the sacrifice they're supposed to put in for their career in their job, and now they feel like they can't do without that job. You find someone killing another just because he wants to be a secretary, because to him that's my career. But they fail to understand that secretary is an office. It's that there's a lot of people who still get to understand about this whole working. I think maybe we'll have a school that gets to make us understand. A DO is not a person; it's an office.
Certainly, and you definitely leave.
You definitely leave. You have to leave. But people think a DO is a career. He's building his career as a DO, and I'm like, do you understand that a DO is a divisional officer? It's an office. The office will always be there, but the person will change. And so I feel like because of this misunderstanding and miscommunication of information about certain things. What is an office? What is a job? And what is a career? People are dying, killing, and wailing over jobs and forgetting about their career. And by the time they even want to realize that they've not been in their career all their life, it's already too late. So how then to you do people even get to understand that this is my career and not my office?
Okay, so thank you very much. As I mentioned already, there's job, there's career, then there's purpose. And the easier place to end is at the level of career. Normally, we don't want to talk about this because I do productivity and business leadership in different capacities, and this is where we make our money, because what we do is I will give you clarity, because when there's clarity, there will be conviction. When there is conviction, the action you carry out will have the sufficient exchange of emotion to get to the kind of results or repercussions that you want. But since we're here for these gorgeous viewers out there, once or twice, you want to give them some free stuff. So she said the primary thing, which is to go within, and then maybe a coach. Now you might need a coach to be able to guide you and help you with the steps. We are coming from, I always go back to talk about school, our school system. We are coming from an exam mentality school system. And the exam mentality school system builds what you call the entitlement mentality. And the entitlement mentality says the product is mine, and by virtue of some certificate I have, by virtue of what I think is my right. When you look at what John C. Maxwell talks about levels of leadership, he talks about the lowest level of leadership, which is position. And that spirit of entitlement is one which doesn't encourage process. Because the reason why many people are scared, maybe of leaving that job or going beyond just the job, maybe to career, before even purpose, is because they're not ready to put in the work. And that's why she said go within you, because when you go within you, you discover truth. Which again, when you use the word spiritual, people get carried away because they might think about religion and all of that. I'm not saying that you don't have the really, really deeper aspects of spirituality, but again, there are different levels, but the fundamental thing is truth. So the reason is that a lot of people are running away from the truth. Because what the truth does, for example, is that it starts to now talk to you, for example, about the entitlement mindset. When she mentioned our environment, that's one of the biggest problems we have in our environment. Because there are offices where there are people there that will not permit you to even try to think about career or your purpose, because want to keep you at the job. And so for you not to be able to escape that job, which somebody like Rebecca Kiyosaki calls just over broke. That's what job means. It keeps you just over broke. For those whose jobs even permits them to do that. For you not to be able to rise above that, you have to go the extra mile. And that's where the work comes in. Yes, a coach like me now can help to facilitate and give you clarity, but generally it's about you now putting in the work. So if you want to be able to have the clear difference between job, career, and purpose, I'm insisting on that purpose element because in one of my books I said that a lot of people lose the eternal gift, eternal life, because of business. For example, again, that's something very crazy. Let's not get into it. We'll sleep here. And that's because because sometimes of their career in this context, they are not able to do what they were born to do, because career could still be just about income, but it could be income at the higher level. And then purpose now is more about impact, where impact is about touching lives, right? So, but to be able to navigate this pathway without getting into too many details, the fundamental thing is, after going back into yourself, you have to put in the work. Which, because of the kind of school system that we come from, we have not learned to go through the process, because it's just the exam, the mark that we're interested in. So it makes you incapable of going through the process. And those who cannot go through the process cannot go long term. And that's why you see there's that fear, therefore, of leaving that job because of that incompetence to now go and hustle career, not to talk of purpose.
All right, let's give examples of jobs, careers, and purpose. If I say you are having a job, examples of jobs.
I am an accountant.
Okay. I'm a police officer.
I'm a police officer. I am a manager. I am
I'm a bartender.
Bartender. I'm a waitress.
Even a stripper is a job.
Of course.
That's
it makes sense to me.
So There are just a lot.
All right, so we have, she mentioned accountant, police officer, TV presenters, journalists, bartenders. We also have traders at the market. It's a job. That's their own job. Okay. Now, career. I want to talk about career. What falls under that?
Let's take the banking sector, for example.
Okay.
You can start at the customer service desk, and then you can go and actually become a teller. And then you can go and actually become maybe a supervisor of a particular department. And then you can go to become just before the manager of that bank, and then you can become the manager of the bank, and then you can become the person who is managing the region, and then you can become the person managing the nation, and then you can become the person managing, you get it,
internationally.
So career has
stages,
those different stages that come, but it's you are following a particular path
in a particular sector.
In a particular sector.
Okay,
you get it.
Yeah.
While that's why there are even some careers, people are entrepreneurial. You see them entering different sectors.
Yeah.
Right, but they are navigating and they enter different areas. The career simply is that there are those different levels.
Like for instance, you see someone sitting here. Let's take for example Princess Alice Like coming. She's a TV host. Tomorrow you see her broadcasting. Tomorrow you see her holding the cameras. Tomorrow you see her editing. She's building her career in that field.
Exactly.
All right. But the job that she took was to be a TV host or to be a journalist. That's the job. But now the career is she is going other sectors of that very field. She's now building herself inside. That's why you find some people are very versatile, while others are just very stagnant.
Exactly. Job people are usually very stagnant. Job people are usually very stagnant because they want to.
And as technology evolves, you see job people are going out, but career people always fit in somewhere because you know they are going.
And that's why one is long term, because you cannot do those many things in a short time. Right? The career is long term, and then the job now is short term because it's just for the moment.
And I think for those of you who are watching us and you keep watching series, you hear the villain in the movie keep saying, "I built my career from down up." Now he means he came into that company maybe as a cleaner. And on the cleaner, he forced his way into maybe the receptionist. From a receptionist, he forced his way into maybe dating the daughter of and the director, and that is how he was climbing the ladder. So that's his career that he was building. Maybe he was building it in a dubious manner.
It was still a career.
The career he was building. There are people who have even built a career. Arm robbing is coming. They started as ITEL scammers. Today they're iPhone scammers. So they've built a career. You understand? Now, purpose. If we talk about purpose, what falls under that?
Okay, as I mentioned, generally, I don't want to talk about this, but again, so and the danger is that a career person can easily assume, and you will not blame that person, right, that he or she is inside purpose.
Yeah.
You see, and the dichotomy, I beg your pardon, between both of them might not be that clear because they could be quite similar. However, purpose, for example, what the bottom line, because in one of my books I talk about the 10 ways to be sure, but we cannot get into all those details now. The bottom line between a career person and a purpose-driven person is the motive of why they do what they do.
Okay.
The motive would determine the end result. All right. So if you find a career person, I'm tempted sometimes to say they usually might just be ambitious. And ambitious in
it's not that they usually, when you say they usually might be,
I'm just saying
they are. Most at times, most career-oriented people are always career-oriented in the wrong way.
Exactly. So there is some level of selfishness.
Yes, it's always very selfish. Right? Very.
And thank you for bringing that in, because I think it draws a line out between both. And if you're trying to know whether you're in your purpose or in your career, this is the question that would answer everything. Because I'm happy because this really brings clarity to us, and that's what I do. Right? But I specialize in productivity, and productivity means you get the highest quality and quantity of results in the smallest amount of time, and you do that by having clarity. Exactly. And so we're giving clarity. So to be sure, right? Because you can still be in something which you call your career, yet it's still what you want to call your purpose.
Yeah.
In that you are doing something that brings you income, and through that you also have impact. I, for example, what I'm doing now is, you can call it a career, and yet what I was born to do. You see, so the underlying factor, so that it doesn't become too complex for the viewers, is the motive. Why do you do what you do? If you are able to draw that line, right, you'll be able to know whether you're just career focused, which is mostly about you, and how you can have money and have all the wealth and all of that, or you are actually purpose driven, which is usually about other people.
Now, if you watch movies again, I'm bringing it in because movies are trying to portray reality to us, not so. If you watch movies, Ayabine, even you, Maya, you realize that at some point in the richest person in the movie's life, he always wants to abandon to follow something else that to him gives him purpose. And at the end of the day, they'll tell you that gives him fulfillment. Sorry. At the end of the day, they'll tell you money is not everything. Now, because when you are involved in career, like you say, I want to build my career. Listen, there's nothing like impact at that time in your head, though. No, this thing he's trying to say is trying to be nice to maybe make some of us who are watching to feel comfortable. When we talk about career, you're at that time the most selfish person. You will kick any competition. You will backstab because you want your CV to be high, heavy, thick. That you started from the bottom, you are now going up. Oh, look at me years back. At that time, you attend all TV programs if possible. I started as a cleaner. Your success story is in everyone's book. Everyone wants to invite you for motivational talks. People want to use as an example. But the truth of the situation is, it's all about you. In as much as that is making other people feel like, I can do this, it's impacting some people and all, yes, but that is everything you're doing is just you. But now when we come to that place, if we now have to be truthful of now, okay, purpose, it has to be for the people. If I'm building this career, why am I struggling to be a TV broadcaster? Is it that it's going to help the community in projects? Now, in that you will not be too ambitious and too hasty and too impatient, like Maya said. Because we're too impatient. Many of us want to hit the mark very easily.
Want to hammer.
Yes, because it's about us. We want to move down the streets of Molecule and people be like, Bob, 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 Bob. It's about us.
Let me just come in, just for allow me to, let me call it a bit, just because it's actually still possible to be that ambitious and yet still a nice person.
Oh,
it's possible.
No, they are still
and
nice,
I think that's where I talked about the motive. All right, you can still be someone who doesn't sleep a lot, right? Because you want to build a career, but yet you are doing that because you want to have an impact.
Okay.
See, so I just think it's possible. I understand where you are coming from because
like
as Maya mentioned, the reason why sometimes it's very difficult to build a career even in our context is because a lot of people are into the selfishness way or selfish way of doing things, and now that prompts people therefore sometimes to also become selfish or too ambitious. But the truth is, it's actually possible to really, really work hard to build now because you want to help other people to rise up. You see that? So it's possible to be in a career and really, really ambitious and yet still have people at the back of your mind. Both actually in the short term and in the long term. It's just that maybe in the long term that you might expand the scope and the range of the impact you're having. Again, so some people out there, it's true that what you have said is quite true in the context. But those out there now who might be trying to do the right thing don't feel like, so it's virtually impossible.
No. They should now bounce what Maya said. Patience.
Okay. About career.
Yes.
When you were talking, I was like, in my head, I was literally scanning some few people that I know that are literally in their career path, but they have great impact.
Oh, no, they do.
Yeah, so they actually exist. A career is not a bad thing.
Actually.
Of course not.
It's the motive, right?
It's the motive that makes it a bad thing. I know this lady where she started in a credit union as a normal akawo collector. She started as a normal akawo collector. That's daily collection. So she worked. She was so good because remember, personal development is also when you have developed yourself. It means that any task that you take, you have to deliver to the core. So she did her job so well that she went up the ladder. Hey, she got the certificate, but she did not get the opportunity. She started with the daily collection. She worked her way into the company, and today she's the manager of a branch, and literally all the other branches are fighting for her because she is that good and the impact is there.
I think at that point in time, what we all have said is what is applying to her. She's realized what her purpose is, and she's working it out in her career because as you were scanning, as he was talking, I was also scanning. And that's if you look at most of these people, majority of these career-oriented people, at some point you need to hear them again. No, let's be honest. I know you know what you're talking. I'm talking about. Your brain is already going to like 6 and 7 of them. You don't hear about them again. And then you start finding that struggling now to go now back to purpose to bring back the fame that the career once gave them. So we shouldn't try to mix it. It's just the truth. If somebody has identified their purpose already, and then while already working in the purpose, they're trying to build a career, they're different from somebody who has first identified their career, before finding their purpose. Two different people. Anyways, we thank you both for already doing the groundwork. Now we are getting into the core of the matter. But before we do that, we welcome you, Evangelist, and we want to ask you this question: why are you always late?
Good morning, dear televiewers.
No, answer my question first. I didn't greet you. Why are you always late?
let me greet my
you're
my dear
you're my who is called your my
yes, and Madam Moderator, I hold an explanation. You know, the traffic.
Have you guys noticed he always owes something?
The traffic in Buea is something that is becoming unbecoming. I cannot imagine that a small city like Buea, we are faced with traffic.
Okay.
From Mondays to Sundays, and even on during the day when one would think that not
even during this holiday,
even during the holiday,
that
so,
kids have gone, children are home.
Yeah, you have to know that many children too are out to assisting their parents. So some are for holiday classes. So actually, traffic held me down. That is why.
So all of this is to just tell us the traffic held you down.
Yeah, it's traffic. So,
okay, no problem.
But I thank God I'm here. Special good morning to Mr. Abine and Madam. I just forgot her name again.
Maya.
Because you're late.
Maya. Okay. A special good morning to you as well. I think it's my first time for us to share a platform like this on Focal Point. I'm glad to be here. Thank God I'm here and to be part of an interesting topic.
All right, Evangelist, we've already done the groundwork, so we're not going to go back to that. What we're going to do, we're just going to move ahead.
Yeah.
Now, from the questions, you come up after Aya Abine. Now, after doing the distinction between the job, career, and purpose. Now, if someone, for a woman, is about to get married, does that in any way infer that she has to abandon either her job, her career, or her purpose?
Well, remember at the beginning I said it's not a straightforward topic. I think it's pretty complex. And it's pretty complex because if this is something that if it really has to be handled, then it has to do with a lot of sincerity, honesty in an era, in a society that is not also very nice, in a society that is quite exploitative. So it makes it quite complicated and delicate to handle, and it requires a large perspective. So I will not say yes, I will not say no, because first I think it's quite subjective, it's quite relative, and so therefore I think the underlying factor here comes to what even before that. First, maybe the questions I should ask is, should marriage increase or decrease us? Right? Those are some questions I want to ask ourselves. Should marriage increase or decrease us? And then, but what does it even mean to increase or decrease in that context? And that's why I said it's a complicated conversation. And then, so I think the good thing is that I think we're considering both. Is it before marriage or during marriage too? Because those are all factors that are important to understand. And then in this conversation, you is listening to us. Are you looking at it from a single perspective or from a dual? Because is it both people involved or is one person? Okay. You see, those are all questions that if we ask, it will help to give us a better perspective or even approach to the conversation we're having. Now, why am I asking all those questions? Because if it's about a single person's opinion or perspective, you discover that it becomes difficult to even explain. Yeah. But if it's two people who come together to discuss, it's completely different. And that's why it's complicated for me to say yes or no, because if the two people sit, and that's why some people sometimes are worried that people don't really go, as much as they go to learn how to drive until they get a certificate. Maybe for marriage, you just go and they can give you the certificate on the spot. Right? You don't have that time to really learn and to grow and to master things. Because before, couples are able to say, okay, we're getting married, they should have had what you call, and permit me to say, if you look at what Jim Collins talks about in his book, Good to Great, it's more about business, but I would like to use it in this context because marriage is partnership too, which is some kind of business. He talks about confronting the brutal facts. And a lot of businesses, a lot of companies that have fallen is because they have refused to confront the brutal facts. And I mean huge companies like the Kodaks and the Blackberries and those large companies. So I'm looking at this in the context of two people wanting to get married. You have to sit down and not have conversations about that will please each other necessarily, but to have brutal conversations where these kinds of topics come up. Okay. Because if they don't come up, at some point it might be a single person, because remember the two become one. It might be a single person's perspective